Hello, everyone. It's me again, Dorothy Guyton. And how are you doing? I hope everybody's doing great. I'm doing great. It's a good thing. It's cloudy today and raining. I won't have the sun coming in here. If you look at some of my videos, I know at least three. I have the sun beaming on me, coming up in the east, rising so beautifully. I love it. I love the sunshine. I absorb that energy. I feel good. I feel great. So even when it shines, I'm like, oh, it's messing up my video. But I love that beam of light that comes in and absorbs from the universe, feeding me, encourage me, making me feel good and healthy. I have been making several videos addressing the red pill community concern about understanding women so they won't be confused and frustrated by them in the dating realm. And also with the thought that, women have messed up the world and now they don't want men to complain. And I just said, I hear you. And I started thinking about what could I say to address that, about the dating complaints that I heard. And what I came up with was, you only as healthy as the two people in the relationship. And I know y'all have heard that. If you're unhealthy going to a relationship, it's going to not be well. If the other person is unhealthy going to the relationship, they're not well. So how do we get well? We get well in grounding ourselves. And for men, it's understanding manhood. And for women, it's understanding womanhood. And then when you two get together, it's understanding relationships and marriage. So we're wanting things before we prepare to receive them. And if we're wanting things before we prepare to receive them, we receive what we're prepared for. Did you get that? If we're wanting things and going after things that we're not prepared for, it's going to be a mess. But you will receive in your life what you're prepared for. The energy you giving off draws in. And people think they can fake it till you make it. That's good because you're in training, you're developing, you're becoming. But pretending as you go, I'm pretending this, and I know I'm not this, and I'm going to keep pretending this. It's almost like the filters. Those filters be on, and I probably have a slight filter. You aren't getting HD on me right now, but I didn't place a filter on there. But just my phone is not giving you HD in every pigment, that pixel that you would have. But filters are messing up people's minds. They put this filter on, and it's one thing is insulting because it's turning all the black people a shade lighter, and they're loving being a shade lighter. So now we're starting to hate our blackness, or just saying I prefer the lighter side of me. And I've done it with a filter, and I've seen the lighter side of me, and I'm cute. I'm really cute, brighter. But we should embrace our old color, because did all the flaws are erased, and your nose is slimmed, and what have you. Everything that makes you is kind of tinkered with. And then that's the thing, and you're like, oh, she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. And you keep looking at that imitation you, and then when you look in an ordinary mirror, you become dissatisfied with what you really are. So it's a dangerous thing. It's fun, it's okay, but some people are living into those filters like that. And then people tell me I was catfished. When you show up, she don't look anything like that, and that's a problem. And men don't do it so much, I don't think, but they have their catfishing ways, and you know your ways. I don't have to get into that. But yeah, so this is part 2 where I started with Love is Blind, the TV show where they did the experiment. If people just talked to each other and couldn't see each other, would they fall in love? And so this is part 2. And I left off saying that if you're aloof and unavailable in a relationship, that is a strategy. You're not living in the relationship and growing it and developing it. You're trying to control it. She won't leave me because I'm always going to make her want me and chase me and not have me. That is cruel. And I don't know what that would do. But I said the person that was aloof and hard to get and not available emotionally was chased after. But it was a disaster. They did not get married. They could not. You didn't know each other. You was too busy doing this over here instead of doing this here. And so it doesn't work, but it works for the moment. It's like a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid keeping the people together. It's not a stitch and a suture and a merging and a binding. It's a Band-Aid or a staple. Staple in, staple there, dragging along, you know. That's not what you're melding. That's what you should be going forward and meld, right? Okay, and I said, of course, the man should have friends, interests, and passions, just like the female, for personal growth and everything. Okay. Somehow you make it to marriage, right? You stuck it out. You got together. You fell in love. This is it. You're going to be married. And marriage is two people becoming one. Two people becoming one. And this is how you're going to go. So you as a complete person over here, hopefully healthy, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, educationally, sexually, all that health here. All that health here. People are saying, what are you bringing to the table? A healthy, functioning adult. What does she bring? A healthy, functioning adult. If you have those things, your marriage as you become one will be great. If you're worried about how many zeros he's bringing, how many zeros she's bringing, that has nothing to do with becoming one. I can't become one with you because you don't have enough money. People have forgot what a darn relationship means in marriage. It's all this, I'm going to have an empire. I'm building a dynasty. We are a power couple. Intimacy, bonding, and growth. One, to have children to care for. See that? Yeah. And love, a strong unit. And all they put the strength on is finances. I'm independent. I'm independent. Well, why are you getting with someone? Be independent. Be independent. I don't need nobody. Good. Don't need nobody. Quit setting your hook and bait and fishing all the time just to know you're going to throw the fish back. Go to the first video, you'll understand. Okay, so marriage is when two become one. And this is what's important. People say, oh, I got married. I knew her 10 years. And as soon as we got married, she changed. Oh, he flipped on me. He was like this for 4 years. As soon as we got married, he was different. You're supposed to be different as soon as you get married because it's two people becoming one. This is a whole new entity that you're forming, a whole new entity, and both of you have to get to know this entity, and both of you are caring for this entity, and both of you are nourishing this entity so it can grow up healthy and strong through life. Death do us part. This new formed, newborn person, two separate people, one person, now a new formed entity, has to grow and develop. And how you neglect it or care for it through the years will determine the health or the dysfunction. So a new entity is formed, and you have to know that you are dating. And of course, courtship in the old days were when they decided, I want to take the company of a woman. They would go to the house and ask permission. May I court your daughter? Courting meant, I have seen her, I've spied on her, and my intentions are, I think I would like to marry her. The girl would say, yes, I will receive his company. And then they have company and they decide he is not there for no play-by-night. She ain't up for no play-by-night. They are actually trying to see if they are compatible for marriage. And this is not going to take 2 years. It's not going to take 3 years because that is a focused goal. I have the intent Oh, I think you may be someone I want to marry. Now I would like the opportunity to take the time to see. And it's not going to be years and two. And I'm from the South, and I had a grandma. No boys showed up hanging around our home. Their intentions was honorable, virtuous towards the girl, or you didn't come in. And it was so embarrassing. Here you are, 14 and 15 and 16, and the young man come and it's like, what are your intentions? And it's like, I'm gonna die. Of course he can't marry you because he's not old enough. So that's the point. 14, 15, and 16, what is your intent? The parents, the intent is to have sex. Don't be so dumb. She's dating, she has a boyfriend, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. What is the intent with this young lady? Sex. So in one chapter, I think we need to go back to the courtship and quit all of this free going through everybody. You know, you didn't want her in the first time. She was a stand-in, a plug-in, until you were ready for someone serious and you just dilly-dally. It's such a mess, but I'll get to that. So, like I said, psychologist Eric Erickson said there's 8 stages of growth and development a human go through life. Growth and development is the study of how a person develops and grows and changes throughout his life. And so he had this in psychosociology, is what he studied and he presented. And then he said the first stage is infancy. And that's why I said when 2 separate people get married, they become one. It's a new entity. It's an infancy. It's an infant. You all are an infant. And that's what people say, I ain't going to give up anything. I'm going to stay the same like I was. I'm not changing and giving up anything. Oh, I'm not changing and giving up anything. You ain't even began to come as one. Your marriage is off. The foundation is kind of not being set. Because when you decide to become one, that's what you're saying. I'm going to do what it takes to make this work happy and healthily. And if it's not, then we don't need to be together. But the intent is to bond, to be intimate. Okay, so we know that the first stages of development for the infant is trust and mistrust. This is when your child learns to trust or have mistrust in the world. Is from birth to 2 years, and that's also in the anatomy of a marriage, the honeymoon phase. The first 2 years of a marriage is the honeymoon phase usually, and then after that the butterflies start going. You're like, I see things I never seen before, and you start on another thing, on another journey. But in that first 2 years, the infancy stage is the time that a relationship needs to be nourished. I've heard the old people say when you have a baby, when the baby cries, don't be running in there and get that baby. Let that baby cry. Let them cry themselves to sleep, or let them cry. They'll stop eventually. Let them learn to self-soothe. Don't be at their beck and call, or they will be spoiled, girl. You will be spoiling them. So let them cry. I never let my children cry themselves to sleep. I never let my kids cry until they just stop crying. I did not address my baby when it cried. It can't do one blipping thing on its own. It is vulnerable. It is not stable yet. It hasn't learned anything. It don't know anything. It's just the beginning of its life, right? When it is the most dependent on someone else. There's not a more vulnerable time than an infant's first 2 years of life. And that's the first stages of marriage. Your marriage, the first 2 years, if you view it as a baby, you answer the cry of your mate. You care. You see what is needed to comfort. You are always there when they need you. They feel safe with you. They won't have to wonder, is he going to feed into me? I love you. I made the best choice. You're wonderful. I enjoy you. I think you're this and this and this. And that's feeding. And then it's that pain cry when it's like, you get into argument and this and this and this. You still need to soothe and comfort each other. This is both ways. You need to soothe and comfort. Your attention is to each other as that vulnerable being, that new growing oneness that has to start learning. And if you neglect that baby will grow to not trust others, and it won't feel safe and don't believe it can rely on others. And so when I say that aloofness that you say you're supposed to have, be stoic, don't speak, don't always be present, don't be available, is gonna hurt the foundation of a marriage. If you made it with that kind of strategy to get to marriage and now you're still incorporating, you will not have an intimate relationship out of neglect. That first 2 years is when you should be the most attentive, both of you, the most comforting, always available to address a need, and to understand. Mothers know different cries of their children. They know when it's a hungry cry. Oh, they know when it's a pain cry. Oh my gosh, that's the cry mothers don't want to hear. I'm in pain cry. We kind of know a sick cry. We understand, oh, the baby's sick. This is different. And we do what is necessary to make sure that baby is okay and will live. And when two people become one, that is a new entity. And you must do whatever is needed for that entity to live and to thrive in a foundation. And you're like, well, she won't let me out the house. She only wants me right there next to her. You knew that before you married her. You knew that's what fed her. You knew that's what comforted her. You knew that's what made her feel safe and secure. You didn't think that you might have to do that until death do you part, or you would tell her you're not doing it anymore and just walk off, and then she would be okay. You just neglected your baby. You're letting your baby cry. You decided to marry that person with that personality and characteristics and behavior, and then all of a sudden you're like, I ain't got time for that. You shouldn't have had time for it before you married. And that's why marriage counseling is so important. And people fall in love and everything, and you don't want to go to marriage counseling because you're probably going to find out you have nothing in common. You can't agree on anything. And this isn't what you didn't even think this person thought like that. And it's major issues and like how I'm going to get over it. But mature, healthy adults can still talk about that and work through it before they get married. But people are too afraid they're going to find those things out. And like, I'm going to marry him no matter what's wrong with him. I don't care. I don't have to find out anything. We'll work it out and we'll get past it and we can do it. And then you get into marriage and you don't do your work. Okay? So that first part of a marriage, and I would say the same thing with the first part of dating. If you can get your toe in the door. If you can. And this is coming from a woman, so I'm sure men will not agree. But if you really think about it, the first part of forming a bond, of being in a relationship, and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to like her like that to be around, but you're setting a foundation for her, and she's setting a foundation for you. And when everybody decides to flip up and everything, take your time. Understand first, that's what I said, you have to be grounded in who you are and understand that you have to be healthy first, happy first, financially, sexually, education, all of that first. And you will pull into you what you radiate out. And so sometimes we have to check what is it we rate, because like a man just said, these men are dogging these women out about their looks, about their butts, about their clothes, and all on their Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, liking. They got them all on their shows, interviewing them and everything. And you're talking about what you want in a negative way. But that is what you want. I see it on the social media. That's what people, because you can tune out and get who you want. You really can. You can get who you want. It's what you're reaching for. May not be right. And that's the thing. It may just be red flags. You're getting rejected and you're getting saved from a headache, an accident, a disaster. You may need to be praising the Lord at that time that that girl was disinterested in quality. And you keep saying, well, why everybody disinterested in quality? Like I said before, you're fishing in the wrong pond. You're fishing in the low quality pond. Then you say, I want a high quality woman, but you're not anywhere near where there's because you're still on social media talking about low quality. Your mind is consumed and obsessed by them. You can't even let it go. Your own social media. That's what you're getting your likes about. Talking about that, you haven't even moved and adjusted and moved to what you wanted. Because you just said, if I can't have her, I'm not going to date. I'm not going to have nobody. I'm sick of women. I hate them. My life is over and I'll never touch anyone. But that's so bad. Get your head together. Get your head together. There's someone wonderful waiting for you. That perfect you. That wonderful you. It's like the people going to the NFL making millions and can't stay out the hood and get shot and killed. Sometimes you have to move and shift for safety, for mental balance and security and stability and ease, because you can stand there and spin and spin and spin and spin, and you're talking about the women so you get some attention, so they'll like you, so they'll come in and say something to you. You like seeing them, you like being around them. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. It is clear, okay? Quit talking about the women that you actually want, because it's echoing around the universe. All right, so you have there's 7 stages of a marriage that people go through, and they call the first stage of marriage the passion time, the honeymoon stage, when romance is intense and attraction is everything, and the couple bond together, and that leads to commitment. So we have the stage of passion is the stage when romance and intense attraction begin, and they bond, and a couple get together, and it leads to commitment. And that don't take 10 years. Don't take 5 years. You're attracted. It's romance. You're starting to form a bond. And then that leads to commitment. And some people just stay so long. And the carcasses, they like that, and they never get to like that. They just stay right here forever. Just right there forever. Okay? They begin to establish trust, respect, and emotional intimacy that will support their relationship forever. And that's what the anatomy of the marriage, the 7 stages, said that first 2 years is the same, equal to what Erik Erikson said of the infant, that it needs care, it needs love, it needs nourishing, it needs to trust. And how do you build trust? I am here for you, and actually being there for them. People tell me, he my ride or die, he got my back, blah, 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 of friends, and then in a relationship, you can't even get them on the phone. You know, those are flags, especially the first 2 years. I mean, it's just there. And so I just say that being stoic and standoffish and unavailable, it's a Band-Aid, but I don't know. I wouldn't be involved with a man like that. They're needy women, and you can't get away from her or whatever. And I wouldn't be involved with that. But you got to play tricks on her to get her to stay around you. You must do tricks and come up with strategies. You aren't yourself. She's not even being given the best part of you, who you are, because you're up to the tricks. And that's living in insecure. You're living in a state of insecurity, and a relationship needs strength brought to it on both parts. And you're not bringing strength. You're bringing weakness, because you have to strategize and plan and act out instead of growing into each other and pouring into each other and stuff. You just want her to hang around. Don't be so desperate and clinging onto whatever. You deserve someone pouring into you, not off so she won't leave me. She'll miss me, so I'm over. You aren't even with her. It's not a relationship. I don't talk to her. Don't talk so much. How wonderful is that? I married a man that don't talk. Okay, you're going to have a crazy dingbat staying with you if she stays. She just going to be as insane as the grains of sand, right? So create a nurturing environment for marital bonds. And that should always be the intent when you say, I see this pretty girl. I think she's attractive. I think that I would like to be in a relationship. I could marry her and I could see her as the mother of my children. But that's not what we're doing. It's lust. I'm going to get this girl. We're going to do the buckwow. I don't know what you call it now. The nasty. Used to be knocking boots. I like that. But anyhow, you're going to do what you want to. And that's as far as the plan goes. That's as far as the plan goes. But in this book, Manhood Interrupted, I'm going to speak about relationships in particular. And understanding you really gonna get what your intentions, your heart's desire, and your heart is desiring just to mess around. You're gonna get some mess around girls pulled into your life. You need to clean up spiritually what you're giving off and what the universe is giving back to you. You're giving off mess, you're gonna receive mess. You're giving out beauty, you're gonna receive beauty. And that, I mean, beauty is a beauty person. You're living in health. You're gonna pull healthy people into you. You're a hot mess. Hot mess will find you always. Hot mess is like, bam, a daggone magnet for hot mess. Hot mess got tentacles out looking and searching all the time. Hot mess will find you in a hurry. So that's why I said, let's go back to manhood and let's start there. Who am I? Who am I? We keep saying what you bring to a table, but you can't explain who am I as a person. And you don't understand who you are as a person. And that's what we have to do. And that's not in a day. That's a journey, a life journey. Because every 10 years, like I told my husband, hopefully I'm different from that. When I was in my 20s, I changed. When I was in 30s, I've changed. I hope when I was in my 40s, I was a different person. And I hope now that I'm in my 50s, that I'm not like I was when I was in my 20s. I have had education and life experiences to shape me and change me for the better, and different passions and pursuits and things that I did that fed into me that made me a different person. So every 10 years, I'm hoping that I'm a different person and my husband's a different person, and we're pouring into each other and going like this. All those life experiences, I couldn't wait to share and tell him, and the good things, the bad things, and he was the one there, and then he would, pour into me, and you go like that. So we have to get our minds right, people, and I don't hope we do. I'm finished part 2 on Love is Blind. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you looked at things instead of just getting angry and learned, because it was enough to get angry about. Oh my goodness, it was so terrible. Like I said, I don't know how y'all date in this time period. It's so wow. Don't forget, I'll let you know when Manhood Interrupted, an answer for the red pill man, is available. This is my proof copy. You see it's dented up there. I got writing in there. I have pages folded down, but this is my proof that I use to do these videos from. Hey, subscribe, please comment. Women, like I said, I hope women find me. I know men, you kind of standoffish. You ain't even gonna look at a woman speaking on womanhood, but hopefully you can see I'm balanced and I come at this from a different angle, and I'm trying to do something that I think is productive and blessed by God, because he loves you, he cares about you. I love you too. Stay happy, stay healthy, because you're loved, okay? Until next time.